So software engineers are the bridge between ideas and implementation.
The software engineer is responsible for resolving bugs and implementing new features.
And then the development division at IA, we are in charge of creating and maintaining the Ignition software itself. We manage the lifecycle of the software, we triage bugs, we implement features, we fix bugs, we introduce new bugs, we fix those bugs.
We do everything from talking with other departments about how users need new functions or what the bugs are. We go ahead and we do the design of that. We write the code, we test the code, we make sure it's maintainable, and then we release it out to the world.
The department itself is kind of broken up into different disciplines. I work on the front-end team where we build perspective, we manage the gateway, build the gateway interface. And then we have other teams that handle, other parts of the tool like tag history and things like that. And those other teams, they just divide out the responsibility of the software across the other teams.
Really, our task is not just creating Ignition, the software alone. Our job is to filter in this input that we have from our sales team, from our support team, from our customers directly via the forums and other input avenues. We take that input and we triage and we decide what is going to happen with Ignition, the software. We forecast what is going to happen with Ignition, the software in 1 year and 2 years and 5 years. And we try and read the landscape of software development overall. We pay attention to deployment models and all of these other avenues and factors and take that into account and hopefully provide Ignition, the software that's most useful today, and keep Ignition, the software most useful for tomorrow and the next day and so on to provide the stability that our customers really need.
We have different types of thinkers within the department. Some of them are more concrete, detailed-oriented thinkers, and other of us are more creative, throw things at the wall, see what sticks, try to work through creative solutions type of thing.
Our team members and across departments, they're all really communicative and very helpful and kind and customer-driven. But at the same time, you're building this product that's being used in the far reaches of all kinds of industries that I've never even heard of before.
Inductive automation isn't exactly world famous, but the products and services that are built using Ignition are. And so it's really exciting to see those products on the shelves and be like, Ignition helped build this. So.
I'm also a big fan of the people I work with, my fellow developers, all of the QA staff who work with me, getting features across the finish line, making sure that I'm not introducing bugs, working with the design team on actually designing and creating these new implementations of brand new concepts. It's very gratifying to work with a whole team of people who are very smart and very talented and very gifted and just elevating each other in everything that we do all the time.
We have a unique SCADA software where we are web-based. There aren't a lot of other SCADA softwares that are. And because of that, it gives us the ability to do some things that you just couldn't do using strictly a Java client or something like that. And so with that freedom comes the ability to make some really impressive interfaces. And we've staffed up a really impressive design team to back that. And they're very creative folks. They constantly push the developers to build kind of the next generation interface that's going to make us stand out.
One of the best things about working in development is I know that every piece of code I write is making a difference to somebody. So many people think that especially factory automation is all like, AI and robots and everything. And they don't realize that so many of our customers have had so many years of walking around, writing things down manually on a clipboard. And the idea of being able to now take a piece of software that will display information to them, control their automation, log data is so life-changing for them. And sometimes those little features just change their lives for the better, especially, the average worker on the factory floor. Making their job easier and more fun is just such a wonderful feeling. And especially when you're going to ICC and you walk by somebody and you hear them say, this feature just made my life better. And you're like, I wrote that feature. That's really cool.
At Inductive Automation, we really strive to have a good feedback loop with our customers. We want to hear what they have to say. We will try different things, and we want to hear if they're good or bad, and we want to hear what we can do to improve them, or we want to hear what they should be before we even create them. So we actively engage with our customers via our support forums, via our support department directly. We reach out to customers and ask them for feedback on upcoming decisions or decisions that we've recently made or decisions that we made 10 years ago that maybe we're thinking about making new decisions about. Our design team is actively undertaking efforts. Every time they're working on new features or redesigning an old feature, they're reaching out to our customers and getting information on what features our customers need in the software, what's going to impact their jobs day to day interacting with Ignition.
You kind of have to understand where the customers are coming from and why they want this feature. And maybe you'll come up with an even better idea that suits the customer's needs.
I was quite surprised about how much customer engagement there is. We're actually encouraged to man the forums. So we have a forum dedicated to the software where customers can go and ask questions and have software engineers or quality assurance engineers or designers answer questions. That to me feels like it's pretty unique.
They'll often post their projects for us to see, like screenshots, and that's always fun to watch. Some of them post even YouTube videos of their projects.
This is a true development to customer communication, which is pretty fantastic. Because of that, you actually get to know your customers well. You get to know where they are in the world and how they use their software, and it's a really interesting insight into the actual implementation. That's a powerful thing. When you're just developing and you're kind of in a position where you don't have customer communication, you don't see the real world use of your software. And without that, you kind of develop in one way, but being able to see the implementation, see how customers are using your tools, it helps you think in a broader sense so that you can kind of take into account a lot of these other use cases with future development.
I would say that the most fundamental attribute that's going to make a good developer or a good QA engineer is the willingness to look deeper into things. If you encounter a problem or you have some vague description of a problem and you need to find out the actual problem, you need to be willing and able to take the extra step to not just see the immediate problem, but to dive in and find out the actual underlying cause or the underlying conditions that lead to some failure.
One of the biggest things I look for is that sense of curiosity. What happens if I do this? How does this work? Looking at that bigger picture. I don't want somebody who's just copying and pasting code without understanding it. I want them to dive deep and say, what happens if I change this little thing and tweak this? How does it break? How does it make it better? And then I would also say someone who can work with other people. I don't want someone who thinks that development is sitting in the basement in the dark banging out code. They need to be able to work with their team members. They need to be able to work with other departments. They need to really care about our users because our users are what let us do what we do.
So you have to be a flexible person to work with all these different departments and to take this fluid idea and make it into a concrete product.
Really just have a willingness to learn, because we have a very unique tool, and we also have a lot of different tiers to the development that we do. And so having kind of that constant learning, constant bettering attitude is really going to make you successful here.
A new hire at Inductive Automation is not expected to know everything there is to know about the industrial control space. It is a massive space. There's thousands of buzzwords and acronyms, and it's impossible to know everything.
I had no idea what SCADA was when I came into here. I thought it was robotic software. Like, I had no idea. But turns out SCADA software is pretty cool, and it kind of runs the world in a sense.
It was a tool that I didn't really know a lot about. The SCADA, I had never worked in the SCADA space before, but it sounded great. It sounded fun. And knowing that this tool was web-based, that was a big draw for me because that's my background is web development.
Ignition is a real big product, and there's a lot of different product areas. And just starting off, this is all new to you. So as a software engineer, it's kind of your job to poke at these things, and you're poking at things you don't know about.
The first thing that you're going to do is train. The tool's big. And so you'll spend at least a couple of weeks kind of going through internal training. We've got a fantastic training department here.
One of the things I love about our department is we have a very big focus on professional development. I've got people who are taking classes right now, and we've gotten them everything they need for that, paid for the class, paid for the books, given them time at work to do it. I've got people who are doing little projects in order to develop their skills, all kinds of things. It's so great that the company really stands behind developing the employees and getting them to a place that they want to get to.
So coming to work for a big company, you think that you are going to be locked in as a software engineer, you're going to be locked into this box and you're only working with this specific stack and this technology, but it's not actually true. I have a license to be creative here. Every day I have the opportunity to explore new technologies or new ways that we could improve our software or new components.
At other companies I've worked at, there have been so many layers between you and, say, the director. Whereas here, you could go ahead and Slack the director and ask him questions.
At a lot of companies, you just kind of get stagnant working in your space. And you get comfortable with that. It becomes just an area, you become the guy for that particular thing. And there's just so much opportunity here to work all over the place. And while we do have experts that work in certain areas, they act as experts. And so they're there to answer questions for those that are willing to work in that space.
Inside development, even as a software engineer, there are a myriad of opportunities for growth. You could specialize in a particular area. So we've got different modules and new modules coming up. You might specialize in device drivers.
Developers are not just widgets that you can plug in. Every single one is different. They have different goals, they have different skills, they have different personalities. And trying to find the way that they can be the most productive, the most happy, and still cover all of the things that I need covered in development is a challenge. And when I get it right, it is really an awesome feeling.
At Inductive Automation, I've never felt like here's this wall that's as far as you can rise. You're never going to go past this. I have always felt, here's what I can work towards next. Here's what I can work towards next. And I've never felt stymied in any way. I've always had the opportunity to work on myself and work with the software in new and exciting ways. I learn new things every day.
One of the things I love is that Inductive will find a place for your skills. You may have been hired for one job, but if you show a lot of aptitude for something else, they'll find a way to make it work. They want you to be, the happiest that you can be, the most productive you can be. And if that involves doing something else for the company, it's great. They'll do it. When I've wanted to expand my skills into something else, they found a way to make it happen. When I wanted to move to management, they found a way to make it happen.
Yeah, you definitely feel appreciated working here.
So as a software engineer, there's a couple different pathways you can take. You can become a manager or an architect, and some people even become product owners.
Within the software development division, we have a lot of different opportunities to specialize. You could specialize in a specific domain area. You could specialize in device drivers, or working in the front-end code, or working in the back-end code, or working with the vision module or the perspective module. You could specialize in build tooling and our infrastructure within the department. You could specialize in our container orchestration technologies. You could learn any of these things or all of these things together.
There's hundreds and hundreds of features right now that are sitting in the backlog just waiting to be incubated, and we love to work on all of them.
In the next 2 years, we're trying to double the development staff, and that's a very ambitious and honorable goal. And with that comes a lot of opportunity. We're going to be relying on senior developers to be doing a lot of knowledge transfer. And so it's a great time to come on board.
We have so many ideas and so many technical things we want to pursue that we need a lot more developers. Pretty much the only limitation right now is how fast I can onboard them. So, I encourage everyone to apply because I want to talk to you.